On the morning of June 12, 2012, an armed mob carrying axes and crude bombs descended on the village of Lakshmipeta. By the time the violence subsided, 5 residents from the Dalit community lay dead, and dozens more were severely injured. The attackers were members of the Kapu community. Officially, the Indian government classifies them as an Other Backward Class, or OBC, a legal designation intended to provide affirmative action for groups suffering from historical disadvantage. Yet in the villages of northern Andhra Pradesh, the Kapu were anything but disadvantaged. They functioned as the region's dominant caste, wielding near-total economic and political control. This local dominance allowed them to systematically subjugate the Dalit residents living alongside them, who largely comprised landless laborers working on Kapu-owned farms. This tension between an official backward status and absolute local authority is rooted in a centuries-long history of migration, forest clearance, and military service in the Deccan. The Kapu are a massive, diverse network of agrarian communities, functioning as a collection of regional subcastes rather than a single monolithic group. Their origin stories describe them as the early inhabitants of the Deccan, who migrated from the north, clearing dense forests for agriculture and building the region's first towns. During the Kakatiya and Vijayanagara Empires, they rose to prominence as respected peasant warriors. They held titles like Nayaka, serving as commanders and governors who oversaw the agrarian economy. This historical prestige remains a point of immense genealogical pride. Modern Kapu identity is defined by hundreds of specific surnames and gotras, ancient clan lineages, that trace back to this medieval military elite. In the medieval period, Kapu became synonymous with protection. These families served as the literal guardians of the village unit, tasked with defending settlements and livestock from bandits. By functioning as the primary defenders of the village, the Kapu assumed a social authority that persisted long after the medieval empires they served had collapsed. During the British colonial era, the Rayatwari land system taxed individual cultivators directly. This policy bypassed regional intermediaries and formally recognized the Kapu as the direct landowners of the soil they farmed. After independence, the power structure shifted again when the state abolished the wealthy zamindar landlords who had historically overseen vast estates. Because the Kapus were already the primary tenants working these lands, they secured occupancy rights through post-independence reforms, effectively transferring the proprietary stakes of the countryside to them. In the 1960s, the Green Revolution brought high-yield seeds and intensive irrigation to coastal Andhra Pradesh. This concentrated surplus wealth in the hands of the cultivator families, who now controlled the territory. This historical transfer of land rights permanently shifted the Kapu's role, turning them from medieval village protectors into the modern economic and political elite of rural Andhra. By the 21st century, however, the community's wealth began to thin. Decades of dividing land among multiple heirs led to fragmented holdings and widespread agrarian distress. These economic pressures drove the community to demand state aid, specifically seeking marginalized OBC status to secure government jobs and university quotas for their children. Yet, even while they lobbied the government for quotas, their control over local village resources and Dalit labor remained absolute. Conflict erupted when Dalit families began legally asserting their constitutional rights over land that the Kapus claimed by tradition. In Lakshmipeta, the disruption became visible when a Dalit woman was elected as the village sarpanch. She utilized state development funds to build infrastructure for her own community, entirely bypassing the Kapu's traditional oversight. For the Kapu, a Dalit leader managing state funds independently was not a mere political shift. It was a challenge to the established social hierarchy of the village. When the social dominance of the Torpu Kapu was no longer blindly accepted by the landless residents of Lakshmipeta, they chose to reassert it through force. The 2012 massacre was an organized attempt to punish the Dalit community for their legal and political defiance, and to reset the traditional power dynamics of the region. The violence triggered a wave of resistance. Across the state, Dalit activists mobilized to demand legal protection from caste atrocities and a reckoning for the families in Lakshmipeta. Lakshmipeta demonstrates the modern utility of the caste system as a tool for managing local resources and maintaining power. It reflects a stark contradiction in modern India. A community can lobby for marginalized status in the halls of government, while fighting to maintain absolute supremacy in their own fields.